Welcome to the final spooky season episode. It is the Halloween edition, and we are headed to Covington, Georgia, so we can visit the town where Vampire Diaries was filmed. Thank you so much for coming back to see us. Like I said, we are investigating this vampire-ridden town of Covington, Georgia. It was an absolute delight. It was a beautiful fall day, and we were so impressed. So this was the Welcome Center, and when I tell you, they have such a great little curated museum full of things that were screened from the show, and really, very impressive. I did not expect to find as many gems as we found just in the Welcome Center alone. We went on a Tuesday, so unfortunately there weren't any tours going on, but we definitely want to go back during Christmas time to get the full experience. So stay tuned and subscribe. Like I said, we didn't really know what to expect from this town, but it did not disappoint. They had everything from legacies to originals to Vampire Diaries, as well as some spots from Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington. About a 5-minute walk from the Welcome Center, you could find the town square, and it was, again, just the most beautiful fall day to enjoy, see the famous clock tower from Vampire Diaries, and then we hit up this beautiful little coffee shop. It's called Bread and Butter. Sam got this butterbeer latte that was 10 out of 10 recommend, and we did a little bit more walking around, went and saw Elena's house, went and saw the Lockwood Mansion, and then we headed over to Mystic Grill to have lunch. And it was really funny because it was actually Harry Potter themed for some reason inside, but I just love their appreciation for cinema. And I'll tell you, those fried pickles at the Mystic Grill are the best I've ever had. So can't wait to go back. Like I said, we're going back in Christmas time. So stay tuned. We're excited to show you everything that we find. Now it's time to head to the movies with our cinematic crusader. Here with another Titanium take, here's our movie maven Kai.
Well, hey there, everybody. It is I, your movie maven Kai, and we are finally in the home stretch of the spooky season. Yes, I know it's depressing for me too. This is my favorite time of year, and it always feels like it goes by too quickly. And it went by so super quickly this year because here in Los Angeles, it has been about 100 degrees for the last, 27 to 28 months, and it's horrible. And only just today did I walk outside and go, oh, it's kind of chilly. And I had my classes this evening, and right when they finished, it was raining. And so I'm like, I have what, as of recording this, today is, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Today is the 28th. So we only have a few days left until spooky season, and it's finally starting to feel like spooky season. And I've done a lot of stuff. I've been to Hayride twice. I went to Dark Harbor at the Queen Mary. I went to, all of these things. And I love them so much, but it just didn't feel like spooky season until today. And I'm very happy for that. So I made myself a little cup of tea and thought I would come say hi to everybody because we are going to have a nice little release, or I'm told we're going to have a nice little release on Halloween. And so I thought that I would talk about one of my favorite movies that was the gateway drug into one of my favorite, I don't want to say fandoms, but I mean, definitely my favorite, spooky thing, which is vampires. And that would be The Lost Boys. I have been watching The Lost Boys since I was way too young to be watching The Lost Boys. I've been obsessed with horror my entire life. And it's one of those things where, like, my mom was actually very, I don't want to say supportive, but she was definitely accepting of it because I would sit there and go, I want to watch The Lost Boys. I want to watch Tales from the Crypt. I want to watch all of these like super scary movies. And she hated them. She hated anything to do with, the spooky stuff. And so she just kind of left me to my own devices, very trusting that I would be able to handle it. And I was. And The Lost Boys is definitely that movie that made me absolutely love vampires. And I feel like it's the reason why I'm so accepting of Twilight. I feel like it is because in Twilight, they sparkle. So they're more like fairies, if you want to, get into the whole cryptid thing. But in The Lost Boys, when they die, they explode into like glitter. So it's like their blood is glitter. And I often tell people my favorite colors are blue and glitter. And I think that's where that comes from, honestly. If you've never seen The Lost Boys, like you're missing out. And I say that about all the movies that I review, because I truly feel that if you've not seen these movies, part of your life really should be reevaluated. So The Lost Boys takes place here in California, up the coast a little bit, in a fictional town where these two brothers move with their single mom, who's played by Diane Wiest, who's amazing. And she gets together with, this guy who, she's new in town, and, she's sparking up a new, relationship, new romance and everything. And, he kind of tries to be dad a little too quick because he sees these two teenage boys that he feels, need a positive male role model. Well, Jason Patrick, who plays the elder son, goes off and finds himself a group of friends. The boys are slightly older, hundreds of years older, and he kind of lets them, take over his life. And the younger brother, played by Corey Haim, recognizes that there are some differences happening with Jason Patrick, with his brother, and he goes to the local, weirdness experts, the Frog Brothers, one of which played by Corey Feldman. We love the Coreys. We love a Corey moment. And goes like, hey, I think this is what's going on. And they go, dude, your brother's a vampire. And shenanigans, hilarity, scary stuff all ensue. And it's an absolute ride of a movie. It's beautiful. It's fun. You've got Kiefer Sutherland. You've got Alex Winter. You've got just all these, the cast is stacked. Jamie Gertz, the cast is really stacked. And it's a really good story. Come down to it. It's, cautionary tale. It's, about trust. It's about, family. It's about the relationship between brothers, the relationship between parents and their kids. All of that stuff is touched on this backdrop of vampires. And it's really funny because it's, it's a movie from the 80s. So there's a lot of talk, around, well, there's always a lot of talk about the rock music is making the kids blah, blah, blah. And I feel like, being a child of the era, a baby of the 80s, child of the 90s, and then, having all of that mesh into this, goth emo, kind of amalgamation that I am now, as it grew from those days where it was vampires and Depeche Mode and The Cure, it's a really interesting kind of thing to see that so many of those cautions and those morals and all of that are included. They're still there. There's still things that, we see and you got to look out for that rock music. Oh, you got to look out for that media. Oh, the movies are going to make, people want to kill each other. Well, we all know that, movies don't create psychos, that movies make psychos more creative. So definitely go out and check this one out, because maybe you'll get more creative. If you find a way to turn into a vampire, call me, because I've been looking for that forever. Everyone's like, oh, you'd have to watch all your friends die. That's fine, make new friends. Because as you will see in this movie, apparently when you're young and cool forever, it's incredibly easy to do. So The Lost Boys, guys, it's so good. It's to this day, it stands up. I feel like it stands up. And I think that if there were anything questionable in this movie, I would probably overlook it just because I love it so much. But it was very much my foray into a lot of, the mythology, the spooky mythology, cryptids, the werewolves, Mothman, vampires, even the darker, fairies and demons and angels and all of that stuff. when you are introduced to religion at a young age and then promptly ripped from it. You start to go, what are these things really? So making all those kind of connections, it's really cool. And I think that's really what kind of inspired me to do that. And as you know, some of you know, I'm almost finished with my master's in specialized psychology, and I'm looking at my doctorate programs for clinical psychology. And after that, I'm looking at doctoral programs in parapsychology, and there's only one in the world, and it's in Scotland, I believe. So, oh no, I'd have to move to Scotland for a few years. Oh no. But that's the thing is, I sparked this interest as a young kid, and it's something that's followed me all of these years. And now here I am in, you know, middle age, making these, you know, these moves to do these things that, you know, I kind of always wanted to do because they were always interesting. So you never know when the inspiration is going to hit you, you know, for one of these things. So broaden your horizons, watch the, you know, ridiculous array of movies that I give you guys, and have an absolutely happy, amazing Halloween. Maybe put on The Lost Boys, you know, see if you can find a new interest. Show it to your kids. It's absolutely a great idea. As someone who works with traumatized children, please show exploding vampires to your children. No. Again, guys, it's all about knowing your kids. It's all about, you know, understanding what, you know, your people can deal with. Because it's not just about your kids. I mean, I know full grown adults that have an issue with blood and gore and you know, whatnot, for any amount of reasons. Sometimes people are just uncomfortable with it. Sometimes, you know, it gives them the ick, and sometimes they have a lot of trauma behind it. So when you're suggesting movies, make sure that you know the people that you're talking to. Never force anybody to watch something, because if they tell you that they have, you know, issues, don't sit there and go, oh, I'm going to run some exposure therapy of my own. Bad idea. Bad idea. But I do love sharing these with you guys. And so that is my Halloween gift to you. Last week I talked about the, you know, the cartoons that, you know, really shaped me as a child. Now I'm talking about a movie that really shaped me as a child. Take that as you will. But I mean, come on, Kiefer Sutherland is a vampire. You gotta love it. Drink your water, guys. Take your meds. If you're going out this Halloween, please, please, please be safe and drink a little bit of extra water, especially if you're going trick-or-treating, because even if it's cold, even if it's a little rainy outside, you still need to make sure you stay hydrated. If you're putting out that extra bit of effort and energy and physicality and whatnot, make sure you're replenishing those fluids. Drink your water. Take your meds. We will see you in November. Take care, guys. We love you.